Here's what you need to know about climbing Mount Everest. First is, how do we get there? We take a flight from Kathmandu to Lukla and then start trekking up. This will take us 7 nights, 8 days to get to Everest Base Camp, passing through a bunch of villages through the Khumbu Valley. Now we're in Everest Base Camp. This will be our home for the next 1.5 months. Very important to understand is that we don't climb the mountain in one go. We need to acclimatize. That means going up to a high altitude and coming back down again. So we even go and climb Lobuche, which is another mountain. This is a one-day climb with the summit at 6,100 meters. After this, we go back to base camp and then we go off on an acclimatization rotation, which means that we go up to Camp 3, come all the way back down to base camp, and then wait for a good weather window for the summit push. Going up the mountain means starting at base camp and going through the Khumbu Icefall. The Khumbu Icefall is a glacier with beautiful ice structures, but also the most dangerous part of the climb. Once out of the Icefall, we reach Camp 1, where we'll spend the first night on our acclimatization rotation. Then we move on up to Camp 2 through the Western Cwm. The Western Cwm is a largely flat area between Camp 1 and 2, surrounded by beautiful mountains. Then we reach Camp 2, where we'll be spending 3 nights on our acclimatization rotation. Camp 2 is mostly rocky, just like base camp, but it's not flat, it's steps. On our 3rd day at Camp 2, we head up to touch Camp 3 for our rotation. Between Camp 2 and 3, we hit Jumar Point, which is the start of the Lhotse face. The Lhotse face is a steep uphill section that leads all the way to the summit of Lhotse. Camp 3 is set on an area carved out on the Lhotse face. It is pretty steep here. Camp 3 at 7,100 meters is the highest location we go to before we head all the way back down, spending a night at Camp 2. When the ropes have been fixed and the weather window is open, it's time for the summit push. Then we go all the way back up the same routes with a night at Camp 2 and a night at Camp 3, where we start taking oxygen. Between Camp 3 and Camp 4, we climb over the Yellow Band. The Yellow Band is a beautiful rock formation down the Lhotse face. From there, we carry on to the end of the Lhotse face, marked by the Geneva Spur. This is a tricky rocky section that requires a bit of technical climbing. But the views afterwards are amazing. A short, relatively flat walk, and we're at South Col, or Camp 4, at almost 8,000 meters. This is where we rest for a few hours before leaving for the summit the same evening. The first part is called the triangular face until we hit the balcony. The balcony is a small flat area where most teams change their oxygen cylinders. From there, we climb up along the ridge to the South Summit. The South Summit is the peak that we can see from Everest Base Camp. Time now for the notorious Hillary Step. This is a narrow and difficult section just before the summit where most traffic jams occur. And finally, we've made it to the summit of Mount Everest. We're at the top of the world, 8,848 meters. The views are incredible. Well done. Now you know how to get to the top of Mount Everest.